Great. Good morning, everyone. It is a beautiful Holy Thursday, April 2nd, year of our Lord 2026. My Cordaro jeweler watch tells me it's 9:15 on the nose. This is the Bob Cordaro Show. I am he, broadcasting today from the United States of America. I can prove it because my president just laid out the plan to save the planet. It's also the place where the brave, like the veterans we've lost this year, but salute today, thanks to John Basiliga and his great Basiliga Hospitality Group, like Anthony, Tony, Lorero, Taylor, Robert Snyder, Bloomsburg, and Anthony Blazo, Wilkes-Barre, the United States of America. The country founded with the certain knowledge and understanding by our incredible, irreplaceable, amazing founding fathers who knew that government should not be, and then said they would not be and could not be our parent, our guide, our salvation, our direction. Not any of these things. But government would be, in the United States of America, nothing more than a necessary evil we require to organize and protect society. And why did they say that? Why did they codify that? Because if government's stronger, our freedoms are weaker. Direct proportion. The United States of America, the country where for the first time in human history, freedom was declared to be an unalienable right granted to each individual by God. Freedom couldn't be parceled out to groups. It couldn't be controlled by government or government officials because our great American Constitution ensures and codifies freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom of association, economic freedom, and freedom of the press. Doesn't matter how they use it. We're free to ignore them. Now, armed with these freedoms, and only because they had them, a ragtag bunch of immigrants, rejects, and their progeny, the American people, created the richest, most powerful, most culturally diverse and accepting nation ever to grace our planet Earth. And it's not even close. America, the only place specifically invented and designed so that every American can live their life in the manner they choose, unlimited by their background, upbringing, race, color, or creed, unhindered by the government or those who would use government to control others for their own comfort, benefit, or power. This Bob Cordaro Show, well, it will always be convincingly conservative, lovingly logical, proudly and passionately patriotic, and reliably right. And so, with that essential preamble dispensed, we can gavel to order this meeting of the Club for Common Sense, promising you that our commitment to common sense is so resolute that we will provide a sanctuary of sanity for all of you in a world where educators, at least the educational establishment, public unions, the media, Hollywood, and the Democrat Party leadership to a person has gone insane. And so you need this sanctuary. Well, I've got Chauncey Chauncey is in the house. Last time he was here, it was a while ago, I was able to pick him up. Now, I could conceivably pick him up now. He's 125 pounds to put him on the camera. But, and by the way, that is brought to you by our friends at Roach Supply and Chapman Supply, Plumbing Supply. Veteran-owned and founded by a great veteran, Ron Roach. But, so all of this going on, we've got the moon launch. And today at 10:05, we're going to have Paul Richards, our area's own astronaut from Dunmore, my cousin, And he was at the watch yesterday. He'll be calling from down there. And we're looking forward to talking to him about all of this. But so much going on. The Senate, the U.S. Senate, it's a disgraceful body. It truly is. I'm disgusted with them. They don't have the courage to get 50 votes to get rid of the filibuster, to actually move the country forward. So we're sitting with these rules that the Democrats are going to breach the moment they win the Senate, which is probably November, if these fools continue on this path. And so they passed essentially the same thing in the same way that the House had rejected just 2 days ago. That is the funding of DHS, stripped of funding for ICE and Border Patrol. So the same objectionable legislation, which Chuck Schumer, what a scumbag, which Chuck Schumer calls a win. And so the House now is stuck with it, and they've got to decide, do we pass something that's ugly, that's awful, and just keep things running, or do we not? And we're going to see. I don't know where this heads. But we're going to talk about all of that today. And we're going to have a repeat of, since we found the pineapple song from Terry McNulty on Warm, we're going to repeat our recipe for making your own horseradish. That's what we're going to do. All of that. Today, Holy Thursday, it's the Bob Cordaro Show. Johnny Cash. Murph tells us this date, 1956, he recorded his hit, I Walk the Line at Sun Studios, Memphis, Tennessee. And after saying he wouldn't take us to war, or actually his re-election slogan was he kept us out of war, he asked Congress to declare war on Germany, this date, 1917, Woodrow Wilson, one of our worst presidents. So Trump spoke last night. I really get a kick out of Trump. I love his policies. I don't care much for his speeches. It was nothing new. Maybe he should have done it earlier. I think the main point was that it's going to be over soon. And that was for markets, particularly the energy markets, to react to. So he did it. Okay. What are you going to do? I think it was fine. Nothing wrong with it. Needed to be done, maybe a little earlier, but that's okay too. As long as the war is prosecuted properly and ends in a reasonable amount of time. I wouldn't hold it to these couple of weeks or whatever. You got to do what you have to do. Targets are harder and harder to find. And you've got to remember, with some exceptions, the Army and the security forces have not been really touched by this air campaign, nor will they be. The Strait of Hormuz is the key now. And I like how Trump put it. He said, go to the strait and take it. Go ahead, idiots. And thanks to John for sending in. Our man John sent me this as he looked into the camera tonight and told you everything. Were you listening the right way? Iran's Navy is gone. Their Air Force is in ruins. Their leaders are dead. 33 days. The most powerful military machine on earth turned a 47-year-old regime into dust. But that's not the part they don't want you to hear. Listen again. Trump said, go to the strait and just take it. He told the entire world to go and take the Strait of Hormuz, which they should. It is a world waterway. It is not Iran's. And why should we lose men and fortune when we're probably the least dependent upon it of any major nation? Now, no president in history has ever said that. Not once, not in public, not on camera. He just gave away the most strategic choke point on earth on live television. Why? Because he doesn't need it anymore. The old system ran on oil. The old system needed Hormuz open. The old system needed Iran as the boogeyman to keep prices high and the petrodollar alive. He just killed all three in one sentence. Then he said, buy oil from the United States. That's not a suggestion. That's the new world order. One sentence. No treaty, no summit, no UN vote. America just became the world's gas station. He said it out loud. Then the part nobody caught. We have all the cards, they have none. He wasn't talking about just Iran. Iran is finished. He said it himself. They will be bombed into the Stone Ages. You don't brag about cards against the dead man. He was talking about the ones watching, the ones in suits, the ones who funded both sides for 47 years of this despicable regime and thought nobody would ever find the receipts. The receipts were under Isfahan. 13 soldiers have given their lives, not for oil, not for territory, but for the files that prove who built the machine. This listener says Operation Epic Fury was never about Iran. It was about the ledger. And tonight he told you it's almost done very shortly. Let's take a break. Bob Cordaro, WILK. We'll be back. Our Veterans Tribute this hour, as with every hour, this day, as with every day, brought to you by our man, John Basiliga, and his great Basiliga Hospitality Group. Well, we're headed into the weekend. It's a holy weekend, but it's also time for fun. A lot of people coming in, a lot of fun to be had. And no place better than the 3-bar restaurants featured by the Basiliga Hospitality Group, like the Old Brook Inn, 307 Springbrook Township. I love that place. The Far Street Tavern, the reimagined neighborhood tradition in the Trips Park section of West Scranton, and the Queen City Tavern in downtown Oliphant. All three of them are amazing. I go to them all the time. I love them. Fine dining, Easter brunch, Atera 519 downtown Scranton. Amazing. Stegmeyer Mansion, old world luxury to dine in. And if you're looking for extra fun, Sergei's, the nightclub. Oh, they'll be hopping tonight, tomorrow, and Saturday. Anthony Tony Lorero. He was 87 when we lost him March 27th. He was from Taylor. Surviving is his wife, the former Joyce Carol Hines. The couple was married 54 years. Born in Scranton, he attended the great Scranton Technical High School and was a proud Army veteran. And like so many veterans, he was always there. Prior to retirement, he worked for Crystal Soda Water Company for over 50 years. He was an assistant scout master with the Boy Scout Troop 85 in Taylor. Loving and supportive husband, father, and grandfather. In addition to his wife, surviving are his son, Mark, and his daughter, Leanne, along with her husband, Michael. Granddaughters, Mia and Emily Schiffer. A brother, a sister, other family members. Our veteran this hour, Anthony J. Tony Lorero. Brought to you by our friend John Basiliga and the Basiliga Hospitality Group. Well, that means weather, the AccuWeather forecast, brought to you as always by our great friends at Montage Mountain Resorts. And by the way, there is no season for Montage Mountain Resorts. Spring is as much fun as winter. It really is. And they are swinging into spring. Check out Montage Mountain, even if it's just for the Wagyu burger in the Slocum Hollow Lounge. Today, considerable cloudiness and cooler with areas of drizzle, damp and dreary compared to recent days. It'll be about 52, 46 at Montage Mountain now as I speak. Tonight, low clouds, misty. A London evening, low 44. Tomorrow, low clouds, then perhaps some sun and warmer. And it's going to rocket up to 75 degrees, low of 53. Saturday, even warmer. Times of cloud and sun with a couple of showers. A warm day for the trout opener. It's also break the fast. High 76, low of 56. Easter Sunday, breezy in the morning with occasional rain, cloudy and cooler. There can be ponding on the roadways, so watch that. High of 60, low of 35. Getting into Monday, breezy in the morning, otherwise cloudy. 52 is the high. And let us not forget, it is Passover for our Jewish friends. Blessed Passover to all of you. And that's your weather report from our friends at Montage Mountain Resort. Well, you know what that means. It means Tina Morocco's in the house. She is Global Sales Advisor at Premier Sotheby's International in Naples, Florida. She can be reached through Sotheby's in Naples or directly. TinaMorocco.com, MURACCO. She is your trusted guide to Florida real estate, specializing in Southwest Florida. And she brings the sunshine as often as I could get her to call. How are you, Tina?
I'm doing well, Bob. How are you?
Good, good. Well, we're heading into a beautiful weekend. Not necessarily weather-wise here. It's sort of choppy, but that's okay. And it's gorgeous down there, I know.
It is.
Do you ever get bored with the beautiful weather or say,
No.
geez, I wish it...
No.
I didn't think so. Well, what's on your mind today, Tina?
So today I was thinking about all the connections that we have between Northeast PA and Southwest Florida. And you might be surprised by the one that I thought of today. And that one is by way of Mr. Thomas Edison. Now,
nice. We're going high end here. I like it.
We are a little. Now, I know Scranton's the electric city, but Thomas Edison, when he wanted to go on vacation, he came to Southwest Florida. And so you might have heard, or maybe some of your listeners have heard, of the Edison Ford Winter Estates in Fort Myers. And that's where Thomas Edison and Henry Ford spent their winters. Thomas Edison started coming down here in the late 1800s. And then Henry Ford came, I think, 10 or 15 years later. And they ended up, the first time they ever met was because Henry Ford bought the property beside Thomas Edison. And they quickly became friends.
Wow.
And believe it or not, that quickly turned into their vacations here, their winter vacations turned into something highly, highly productive. They were looking for a domestic source of rubber. And so they created all of these gardens to try to grow something that would replicate rubber in the United States because it was so expensive to import. And so they eventually found it, but it became quickly obsolete because, they found synthetic sources of rubber. But those Henry Ford and Thomas Edison's winter estates are still here, and their laboratories are here, and their gardens are still here. And that's in downtown Fort Myers in the river, near the River District in Fort Myers. And it's just such a cool place to visit. I recommend anyone come down here and visit it because not only is it good for history buffs, but it's so beautiful. I mean, it's situated right on the Caloosahatchee River. So it's, they came down because they love to fish, they love to hunt, and the wives love to garden. So they have these amazing fruit gardens and these beautiful nighttime gardens there, and that the Edison Ford Winter Estates has events year round, and it's just, they're set up just like, when Henry Ford, it's like the Gilded Age kind of, like in the 1920s when they were there. So it's
I was
really
at the Ford
cool.
Mansion in Detroit, and I'm thinking, you could just imagine, this was their summer playground, Southwest Florida. How about that? Fort Myers, though. I didn't know these things were in Fort Myers.
Yeah.
Why am I learning something brand new, completely new every time I talk to you? I mean it.
Well, I'm related to real estate. So this is downtown Fort Myers, like the city.
Yeah.
And so this is the River District, kind of the gateway into the River District of Fort Myers. And the River District in Fort Myers is absolutely booming here. They were always known for like a big art scene. They have a lot of music scenes, but now they're bringing in what they call a culinary district into downtown Fort Myers. So it's situated right on the river, and it's just beautiful. There's all these restaurants right on the river. There's cigar bars, Bob. I know you love that.
Yes.
And just outdoor music. So it's very walkable. And real estate-wise, it's interesting because we don't have a lot of places in Southwest Florida that are like big cities. And there's a lot of high-rises, and there's a lot of places that you can just walk. to, the bars, the restaurants, the shopping. There's all kinds of cool boutiques like ice cream shops, tons of pizza shops. It's just a neat area. And everything from like studio apartments to, big luxury condos. So it's really got a variety of things, and it's really a hip. I would say it's really a hip part of Southwest Florida.
How neat is that, Fort Myers?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and now we have direct flights there from
Yeah,
Wilkes-Barre
exactly.
Scranton International. Amazing.
Yeah, not too far from the Fort Myers Airport. The River District's probably, I'm guessing, like 20 minutes from the Fort Myers Airport, and you can be there, and it's a fun place to visit, but don't miss the Edison and Florida States,
Well, that's
the
great.
winter estates.
Great stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Tina Morocco, thank you very much. Just telling
You're
you,
welcome.
Premier Sotheby's International, Naples, Florida. She's in that office. You could reach her through that. Or go direct to the source, Tina Morocco, MURACCO.com. She's your trusted guide to Florida real estate, specializing in Southwest Florida. And we learn something new every day. I've got to go see this. I've got to go see these. It's amazing. I love it.
Worth checking out.
All right. Thank you so much,
right.
Tina.
Take care,
Happy
Bob.
Easter.
Thanks.
Happy Easter. Have
Happy
a great
Easter to
weekend.
you.
All right.
Take care.
We'll take a break. We'll be back, and Lorraine has a poem of all things. It's the Bob Cordaro Show. The Beach Boys. Murph tells us this date, 1964, they recorded their hit, I Get Around, which will be their first hit. Bob Cordaro back with you on the eponymous program. And, well, she likes a do, but we're not going to give her any. Just her intro song, and that's it. It's our girl, Lorraine from Hazleton. And she has a poem. Hi, Lorraine.
Hi, Bob.
Hey, Chauncey's with me in the studio today.
Oh, if I'd have known that, I'd have came.
Yeah, you should have come up and seen Chauncey. He would have loved you.
Yeah, if he would have jumped on me, I would have been fell to the floor.
He's a handful. He is.
Well, you wanted to hear the repeat Good Friday poem, so I listened to you and I called back.
Great. And now, do you have an Easter poem itself, too?
I do, but, I mean, if you want to hear it. If not, I could wait till Monday. It's up to you.
All right, let's wait till Monday. That's good. We'll hear that for Monday.
If I'm still around.
Yeah, we'll try to all be around. Nothing's promised. Nothing's promised.
No, we're not guaranteed our next breath. Oh, on that note, well, okay, here goes. Excuse me. Good Friday is the somber day on which we honor our Lord's death, from the time that he was scourged until the moment he drew his last breath. It is called Good Friday because Jesus died for our sins. He provided a way to heaven for us when mortal life ends and eternity begins. Many of us have numerous crosses that we must learn to carry. Some may be large, while others small, but I do know that the intensities can vary. Therefore, when you become discouraged and everything seems at a loss, please ask Jesus to help you as you humbly gaze upon the cross. Amen.
Fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. And somebody texted in, because I had mentioned that I watch on Good Friday. I won't be on the air tomorrow, but on Good Friday at noon, I try to watch, and I will watch, Passion of the Christ by Mel Gibson. And let me see what. Somebody texts in. Let us take pause to realize what happens tonight until tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
I listened to a homily asking whose cross did Jesus carry. In the movie The Passion of the Christ, Mel Gibson actually had one part that he acted in. His hands are the hands of the Roman soldier who nailed Jesus to the cross, signifying that Lord Jesus carried all our crosses. So the answer as to whose cross Jesus carried is mine. And by the way, somebody texted in, tell Lorraine the poem was wonderful.
Thank you very much. But tonight is the saddest night because Jesus was all alone in the garden, and he really sweat blood because he was afraid. He was afraid to die. He didn't want to die, but not my will, but your will. And even all his friends betrayed him. And I always associate the agony in the garden. That had to be the saddest moment for him.
Sure.
And he knew that his death was going to be all in vain. He knew it, but he still died for all of us.
Well, and this being for the Jewish religion, Passover, it is a doubly holy week and weekend. Good stuff. Well, thanks, Lorraine.
You're welcome. And
I like that you got emotional over Christ in the garden. I like that a lot.
I always do, and I always did. And see, when I was years ago, when I was in a bad automobile accident, it happened to be on March 27th in that year. Well, I'm not going to say the year, and I'm not joking, but I mean it was on a Good Friday. And who'd have thought that years later I would have wrote a poem Good Friday?
Yeah, how about that?
And did you look? I mean, listen, I looked, and I found about the 7 churches
Yeah.
I mean, yes, it is 7, and the alternative is 3.
Yes.
But I guess the bottom line is, Bob, you do what you can. But
That's
really, the traditional was 7.
We were both right.
Yeah, everybody was right. So
And that's a good place to be.
seriously.
Well, thank you, Lorraine. Blessed Easter to you, my dear.
Yeah, blessed Easter. I'm going to McDonald's all by myself. Anybody want to come with me? I'm serious.
Well, whatever you have for Easter, that's not bad. I'm a McDonald's fan.
Yeah, but being alone, that's sad.
Yeah, it's sad. That's tough stuff.
It's very sad.
I know. Hey, Mark Mayer texted in. He says, Lorraine, excellent.
Thank you, Mark.
All right, honey.
And blessed Easter to everybody.
Happy Easter, my honey. We'll talk to you
Okay.
again. We'll talk to you Monday. All right?
Okay.
All right, dear. Well, we're headed to the top of the hour. My Picardo Jewelers watch tells me I'm watching the sweep hand get to 10 o'clock. And after on the other side of the news, we're going to have Paul Richards telling us about this moonshot and this moon project. We're looking forward to it. We'll be back. Great good morning, everyone. My Cordaro Jewelers watch tells me it's 10:06 a.m. here in the great Northeast. This beautiful Thursday, April 2nd, year of our Lord 2026, Holy Thursday. This is the Bob Cordaro Show. I am he, and it's a big day to fight for America, defend our values, and with the help of our man John Basiliga and his great Basiliga Hospitality Group, to honor the brave who have made us and kept us free. People like veterans we've lost this year but celebrate today, thanks to John, like Tony Lalero of Taylor, Robert Snyder, Bloomsburg, and Anthony Blazo, Wilkes-Barre. So with history, our great founding fathers, and the incomparable Constitution of the United States of America as our guides, let us continue today's battle. Gaveling back to order this meeting of the Club for Common Sense, promising you that our commitment to common sense is so deep and ironclad that we will provide a sanctuary of sanity for all in a world that's much of it has gone mad. The blast off yesterday, and absolutely amazing. It always is. It doesn't get old. It doesn't get old. And I thought to myself, we've got to turn to Paul Richards, our local astronaut, because we've got to talk to him and find out what it was all about. Paul Richards, first of all, welcome. And thank you for your service to NASA and our country. But you were there yesterday. Tell us about it.
Yeah, thanks, Bob. Yeah, it's great to share this. It's, it was a family affair for us because my daughter also works in the space industry, working on the Orion space capsule. Yep,
Neat.
She's an engineer with Lockheed, interfacing with crew interfaces with those pesky astronauts. So when they have questions of something in the cabin on their 10-day journey, and if it's buried in the drawings or something that, is not in their flight data file, she has to be kind of in the back room pulling up drawings and giving them the information to the crew. So it's a family affair, and it's so inspiring to see it. And, one of the things, we were stuck in traffic for 4 hours getting there and 2 hours getting back. And that could seem like a frustration, but to me, it was actually inspiring because that many people want to see this launch and descended on Florida. And I just ran into some, young kids in the elevator at my hotel, and it was their first launch. And I can remember back, like I said recently up at an event, seeing my first launch on TV in 1970.
Yeah, that's amazing. And how does it feel? It's got to feel very different for you. You were one of the people who was blasting off from Earth, and now you're watching it. That just has to feel different.
Well, yeah, there's an evolution of when I was an enthusiast and would watch, shuttles and or human spaceflight go up, and then when I worked on, hardware, and then when I worked with the crew as colleagues as an engineer, and then as friends, and then myself, and then seeing it afterwards, it's still emotional. I teared up,
yeah.
As everybody does. It's just so emotional to see, that our country is doing the exploration, fight for freedom, the exploration, and it's just so emotional to see that we can actually attain this. And the rocket was just amazing. It was so much larger and bigger than even a shuttle flight. It was like I was watching a recreation of the Apollo.
Yeah. Amazing. So you launched off years ago, 2001, and you carried that experience. You've stayed in the both the private and the NASA side of things throughout your career and to this day. And so you get to see another perspective of all of it. How important is it that we go back to the moon?
Yeah, every nation that has done exploration has had the highest standard of living for its people. So I often joke that, I would get asked, why are we spending all this money in space? And I said, well, when I flew, I left my wallet in Florida. All the money we spent was down here in the United States on the ground.
Yeah.
And so it's, the highest standard of living, if you go back in history, I'm a buff of history. So if you go back to Spain, Portugal, India, China, the Britain, anybody who explores opens those trade routes and has that standard of living. When you stop and close your doors and stop doing that, you can see the economies and the nations decline in standard of living. So that's one reason to do this. And, we're also, as we did in keeping the trade lines open.
Striving is its own reward.
Yeah. Yes. And it's the inspiration of Young. It's striving, to move forward to the unknown, which reaps benefits. And it's keeping the trade routes open. We keep the trade routes open on Earth here with our navies, and we can see when they close down what happens. And we can see that happening with China if they claim the moon and, cordon off the South Pole as their sovereign area. That would stop exploration of other nations. And we go to the moon for all nations and try to keep it free.
Paul Richards is our guest. He launched on the shuttle back on March 8th, 2001, returning March 21st of that year. And he experienced spacewalks, all that. When you see their mission, it's very different than yours in many ways, but there are incredible similarities. Talk about that, if you could.
Yeah, I can see the crew. Of course, I knew a lot about the shuttle, the Space Transportation System, the STS, and this is the SLS. But there was so many parallels, and you can see all the tens of thousands of people in the Launch Control Center and training in Houston, and the crew. It's like I knew who was behind them, and it felt familiar watching them, even though it was a slightly different venue. So, NASA does an incredible job of making it look something extremely hard look easy.
Yeah. And they had some tough times when they were not in their A game, but you think they've come back and they're at the top of the food chain again.
Yeah, you can't always be. I mean, your A game is always learning, always exploring, and we learn more from mistakes and temporary setbacks than we do if everything goes right and maybe you got lucky. So, it's not that you make a mistake or have a setback. It's how you recover from it and learn from it to go even further the next time.
Paul Richards is our guest. He is a former astronaut. He's been involved in the space program in one way or the other, as private industry or NASA, for decades now. He's done more zone. So, Paul, you observe that takeoff, and tell us about this mission. What are we trying to accomplish? And I found it interesting and didn't know this. This will be the longest space mission, manned space mission, ever.
It will be, well, we've been on the International Space Station for years. This will go further out in the solar system than we ever gone before.
Yeah.
So it will be a 10-day mission and be given the trajectory they're going. But we go through an evolution. We have to balance the risk. And so NASA just actually changed the architecture when they looked at it to get a better architecture to get us to the moon with a higher probability of success. So this is one of the missions to test the vehicle, to test the crew training, to go around the far side of the moon on a trajectory and return. This is testing the life support systems, the propulsion systems, and then we'll incrementally, we haven't done this in 50 years. So you say NASA does it, but the people at NASA that did it 50 years ago aren't around. So it's always about the people who do things. So you can't just say an institutional knowledge, because once those people leave, that knowledge leaves, unless it's passed down. So this is, again, getting that institutional knowledge, getting that incremental thing, and we'll go to rendezvous and docking and test the landers, and, we will incrementally get there to have the highest probability to safely land our crew members on the moon, stay there, and safely bring them home. But we try to do that as lowest risk as possible, but there's always risk.
And that was going to be my next point. There is danger in this mission. So many variables can occur, so many things. But you mentioned when you were at the Everhart, the training was so redundant. It was so deep. It was so extensive for every possibility that if something does go wrong, they're going to be as ready as you possibly could be.
Absolutely. You get that memory muscle, that muscle memory in your brain. In fact, in my training, when we had anomalies on orbit, which we did with computer systems or radars, it felt like I had already done it. And in fact, when I got back home in the debrief, I couldn't remember if we actually did it on orbit or training. It was so ingrained.
Yeah. One of the things they're experimenting is this sort of ricochet, where you use gravity to catapult the spaceship. Tell us a little bit about that, because it has important implications if we're ever to try to go to Mars.
Yeah, and we do use that now. There's orbital dynamics that, in order to conserve fuel, you can use the gravitational pull of planetary bodies and like the moons and everything to increase your speed, and then at the right time, add speed to that to do escape velocity out of that planetary body, and you end up conserving fuel and moving even faster. And so when we go out to the solar system, that's what we do. And ironically, I'm working on a propulsion system for that right now with my private company, where we can go direct to Jupiter in 34 months without having to do that planetary assist.
Astonishing. That's a leap, like almost a Star Trek leap, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah, and we're, our company and other companies, we're at the barnstorming and we're just in the beginning of this whole exploration and technology. And so, just think of where airplanes were in the early 1900s and then, the 1920s. And I like to superimpose, history. We're in that phase of spaceflight, and so
you think that early of a stage?
Look like, yeah, and what our systems look like 100 years from now. We just had the 100th anniversary of Robert Goddard with his first rocket flight up in Massachusetts, and to look at that and say, within 50 years, that rocket that was no bigger than 10 feet tall and weighed maybe a couple pounds turned into a Saturn V 50 years later.
Amazing. Are there what are the knuckle biting stages of this, the nail biting stages rather of this mission for both for the NASA itself on the ground and the crew that you see?
Yeah, they're typically the most dynamic parts of flight. When you're going from 0 to 17,500 miles an hour in under 10 minutes, of course, that harnesses a lot of power. And there's very little that humans can do in that. That's why we rely on the computers and the software. That's nail biting. And we have escape. Like they have an escape system that will pull the capsule away to safety. We had the shuttle, we had different things. So that part of it. Once you're in orbit, you're relying on systems. Things are a slower pace. It's time to relax, but you're still only, an eighth of an inch of aluminum away from a vacuum. But then on the reentry, when they come back, the reentry from the moon is very critical. You have to hit it in a certain corridor at a certain angle. If you go too shallow, you'll skip off the Earth's atmosphere and be, sent out into space. If you go too steep, you'll come in too fast, and the heat would be too great for the heat shields. So you have to, again, come in just right and capture the capsule with gravity, but then also be able to slow down in the upper atmosphere, turns it into a plasma, and then get to a speed where you can deploy your parachutes.
Paul Richards is our guest. He launched in 2001 on a space shuttle mission, and he was there for the launch yesterday. Paul, one of our listeners, Tom from Dallas, asked, do you know anything about the water they're going to use on the dark side of the moon for fuel for future space endeavors? We touched on it, but do you know anything more about that?
Yeah. So part of the exploration is to look for resources, and the most valuable resource on the moon is water because it has both hydrogen and oxygen, which is a fuel to get to other parts of the solar system. So you can break down that water that's trapped in ice on the rims of the crater, and we think the South Pole. In fact, we have data back that says the South Pole has probably the most water on the dark rims of the crater. And, this week I kick off a mission with DARPA. We're in a competition to map the entire moon to look for resources and water. And it'll take us 4 years to map it. And we're going to try to do that sooner, maybe with more spacecraft. And so, so water is definitely key. And then it's also, can be drinking water as well as fuel.
Amazing stuff. Well, Paul Richards, thank you for joining us and commenting on this. It's exciting that you were there to watch the actual launch, and I know you'll be watching the whole package intently. We look forward to the propulsion that you and your company are working on, and we thank you for being for your service and for being on with us today. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Bob.
All right.
Always a pleasure.
Our astronaut, Dunmore's own Paul Richards, and as they say, my cousin. We'll take a break and be back. the Righteous Brothers. Murph says they moved from number 8 to number 3 with their hit, You're My Soul and Inspiration. Bob Cordaro, this date, 1965. Bob Cordaro back with you. Always fascinated with the space thing. By the way, Roach Supply is the premier bath and kitchen supplier in Northeast Pennsylvania, and they're celebrating 75 years in business. Is that not amazing? Visit roachsupply.com today, and they're presenting the live stream for all of you. So yesterday, this odious, beyond odious fool, little boy king Billy Gaughan, he had proposed that we prevent ICE from operating within Lackawanna County. He's way beyond his mental skis pretty much on any subject he discusses. But in this case, beyond the legal skis of the Lackawanna County commissioners. Fake, phony bullspit. He's a typical left-wing goofball. Only he's in office, so his incompetence has damaged us and raised our taxes and reduced services from Lackawanna County. Now, he's no longer in the majority, thank God. But Commissioner Welby, also a Democrat, had gotten a little weak-kneed and was going to go along in some fashion with these ICE restrictions here in Lackawanna County. But I've got to tell you, thank God for Chris Chermak. He stood up and he brought up the truth here. Crime perpetrated by undocumented immigrants, like Lake and Riley. And you could go through a list that doesn't end, unfortunately. And they tabled it. But I'm looking at Lackawanna County Controller Gary DeBilio. He's gone total kook. He's turned into a total kook, speaking on behalf of these restrictions. Total kook. Sorry, Gary. I like you, but you are a goofball. Unbelievable. He's speaking at the... What an ass. Maybe just an ass. It's absolutely awful. And they brought their agitators, the usual suspects. Well, hey, we got together for the No Kings rally and we didn't know what we were talking about. So let's get together at the commissioners meeting and talk about things we don't have any idea. Let's do that. Yeah. Unbelievable. Just stupidity is rife. And we talk about this Iran incursion. Bill O'Reilly has a piece today saying that Trump last night was largely speaking to a hostile audience who has turned on Mr. Trump over this attack. What, did we forget about terrorism? Do we not want to think at all about the implications of an evil regime like Iran with full power, investing billions and billions of dollars into the attempt to have a nuclear weapon that they were going to use? And you don't want to see this? It's amazing. By the way, the same people who didn't care about gas prices skyrocketing higher than they are. And when you get your utility bill, thank Joe Biden and the Democrat Party. That's right, when you get it now, all those costs got built in. And they never complained about the price of gas then. In fact, they defended it for a scam called the Green New Deal. But now they've got a problem with gas prices to put an end to an evil regime bent on ending the world. That's what they intended to do. Amazing. Somebody says, sorry, but DeBilio was always a kook. Well, he's lost it completely. Ridiculous, Gary. You should be ashamed of yourself for becoming that stupid. And then being vocal about stupidity on top of it. Dear Lord. All right, we've got to take our break. Bob Cordaro, WILK. Let's hear from our great sponsors. Then we'll come back. We will talk about our veteran this hour, the weather, and more. It's the Bob Cordaro Show. Our Veterans Tribute this hour, as with every hour, this day as with every day, dutifully, loyally, patriotically, brought to you by our man, John Basiliga. And being a Thursday, we talk about the Basiliga Hospitality Group. That includes the Old Brook Inn in 307 Springbrook Township, the Far Street Tavern in the Great Trips Park section of West Scranton, the Queen City Tavern in downtown Oliphant. 3 amazing bar restaurants. The best food, service, fun, the whole package. You want fine dining? Yeah, we got that. Modern take and one of the most beautiful restaurants you will ever go in. A Terra 519. I happen to love the bar. Then you go down to Wilkes-Barre, downtown Wilkes-Barre, South Franklin Street, the Mary Stegmeyer Mansion. Not far from one of the best bed and breakfasts you will ever see. The Fred Stegmeyer Mansion, just a block or so down. But the Mary Stegmeyer Mansion, an event space, an amazing event space, and a fabulous restaurant. Sergei's Live, the nightclub. They'll be hopping starting tonight and all weekend. Robert Snyder. We lost him at age 81 on March 22nd. He was from Bloomsburg. He was a retired state trooper and township supervisor. Born in Shamokin, he attended Lincoln Elementary School and then graduated from Shamokin Area High School, 1963. He served this country July 1963 to July 1967 in the United States Navy. He then began employment at Bendix Corporation, repairing gyros for airplanes. But in 1968, he was called to public service again. He enrolled in the Pennsylvania State Police Academy, graduating in April of the same year. Initially stationed in Gettysburg and Harrisburg, he transferred to Troop F. Milton in 1970 until his retirement in 1991. He married his beloved wife, Judy Young, who survives him, November 30th, 1968. The couple owned and operated 2 businesses on top of their normal duties: Homemade Happiness Candy Store and the Oxygen Plus Medical Supply Company. Well, he had another job after that, helping to raise all 6 of his grandchildren. Robert Snyder was a member of the Bloomsburg Area Lions Club, served as a Hemlock Township supervisor. Survived by his loving wife, Judy, his devoted sons, his daughters, and 6 beautiful grandchildren, as well as other family members. Our veteran this hour, Robert Snyder. AccuWeather forecast brought to you by our friends at Montage Mountain Resort, which is swinging into spring. There's still fun to be had all year round at Montage Mountain Resorts. Today, considerable cloudiness, cooler, areas of drizzle, damp and dreary compared to recent days, high 52. Tonight, low clouds, misty. It'll be 44 degrees. Tomorrow, low clouds and perhaps some sun and warmer. Well, they're saying perhaps. I'm guessing it's going to be. High 75, low 53. Saturday, even warmer, 76 degrees with times of clouds and sun with a couple of showers. A warm day for the trout opener and break the fast. And then Easter Sunday, breezy in the morning with occasional rain. Cloudy and cooler. There can be ponding on the roadways, so watch as you're traveling through the river, over the river, and through the woods. High 60. Low 35. Getting into Monday, Easter Monday, breezy in the morning, otherwise cloudy, 52 degrees with a low of 32. And that is your weather by our great friends at Montage Mountain Resort, where it is 47 degrees as I speak. Ringo Starr. This date, 1971, he released his first solo hit, It Don't Come Easy. What a great debut for the least talented of the Beatles. But he had a good solo career. Really, he's still out there performing. Bob Cordaro back with you. Just there's something to note here. Now, I want to tell, this will give you the state of mind of the people that were at the Lackawanna County Commissioners meeting yesterday, trying to prevent local law enforcement from cooperating with ICE or Customs. I'm not going to mention her name because she's a fool and I don't want to embarrass her to be punching down. But this resident became emotional when expressing her disappointment with the lack of action on Gahan's ordinance. That's the lunatic idiot, boy king Bill Gahan, who wanted no cooperation whatsoever. Now, this woman adopted her daughter from China in 2009 and fears that the Scranton Prep senior could be profiled and targeted by immigration agents despite being a U.S. citizen. Now, when do we bow to abject paranoia and stupidity, I might add? The citizen continues. The confused, idiotic citizen continues. This moment feels especially disheartening as you have the opportunity to say to the immigrant community, we got a huge immigrant community. What about the legal immigrant community, which they don't give a spit about? What about the American citizens, which they don't give a spit about? We see you. We care about you. And we will use the authority we have to safeguard your constitutional rights. It's unbelievable. Yeah, they're going to start taking American citizens and shipping them out of the country. That's one of the lies they've been using, these fools. And they're fueled by lies, untruths, separation from fact, truth, and reality. But yet they keep going. They keep talking. They keep convincing themselves in a circle jerk. It's unbelievable. The stupidity that's expressed, and they freely express it and repeat it. Yeah, ICE agents are going to go to Scranton Prep and take a kid. I'm like, God, it's just... It's actually depressing to know that we're surrounded by people like this. Or they're amongst us. That's actually more accurate. Most people have common sense. Let me go to something great from something ridiculous. April 2nd, St. Teresa, Mother Teresa. She says, maybe there is a rich person who has no one visit them. He has plenty of other things. He is nearly drowned in them, his things. But there is not that touch, and he needs your touch. She always touches upon the great St. Teresa. She always touches upon that's the spiritual blessings are more important than the physical blessings. And this is important here. Mary Regina says, Holy Tridium prayers for Lorraine. She was sorry to hear her cry. And yeah, well, I was too. But she's an emotional woman. She's a great woman. You can't have her level of poetry, which I think is great, without emotion surrounding it and behind it. So we were happy to have that. All right. We've got to take a break. Bob Cordaro, WILK. We will return. Biden banner disgrace. Stolen valor from our veterans. Day 108. The Green Ridge Neighborhood Association, and we encourage you to get in touch with their members or communicate with them on their Facebook site or their website. They put up a banner saluting Joe Biden as a hometown hero. A banner which is sacred and meant to honor veterans only. Joe Biden dodged military service. The Green Ridge Neighborhood Association knows it, and they keep the banner up. Biden banner disgrace, day 108. Tear the banner down. You can embarrass yourself with anything saluting Joe Biden. Feel free. It's your right to be stupid. But this is wrong, and you all know it. Biden banner disgrace, day 108. You know it, baby. Great good morning, everyone. It's 11:11 and change here in the great Northeast. That's what my Cordaro Jeweler's watch tells me. This beautiful Thursday, April 2nd, Holy Thursday, year of our Lord 2026, the start of Passover. This is the Bob Cordaro Show, and I am he. And it's a big day to fight for America, defend our values. And with the help of our man, John Basiliga, and his great Basiliga Hospitality Group, to honor the brave who have made us and kept us free. People like veterans we've lost this year, but salute today, thanks to John, like Tony Lalero, Taylor, Robert Snyder, Bloomsburg, Anthony Blazo, Kingston. So with history, our great founding fathers, and the incomparable Constitution of the United States of America as our guides, let us continue today's battle. Gaveling back to order this meeting of the Club for Common Sense, promising you that our commitment to common sense is so foolproof that we'll provide a sanctuary of sanity for all of you in a world where a lot of acolytes, but the education establishment, the bureaucratic government establishment, so many of our foundation and NGO leaders, so many of our nonprofit leaders, and certainly the Democrat Party have gone insane. You need the sanctuary. My man JB sent me something, a few things, and they need to be read to give context to something that this fool councilman in Scranton said. And the things we were talking about last hour with County Controller Gary DeBilio and the other jackasses promoting blocking ICE, along with sicko Commissioner Gahan. Not knowing the truth makes you ignorant. Not wanting to know the truth is what makes you stupid. And here's another. We live in a time where intelligent people are being silenced so that stupid people won't be offended. And another. The ultimate ignorance is the rejection of something you know nothing about, yet refuse to investigate. Ego prevents you from learning from others. Envy prevents you from focusing on yourself. Anger prevents you from seeing clearly. Ignorance prevents you from making good decisions. Fear prevents you from seizing opportunities. Get rid of them all. And then finally, a fact is information without emotion. An opinion is information shaped by experience. Ignorance is an opinion without knowledge, and stupidity is an opinion that rejects facts. Let's play this, Bulldog. This will tell you everything. Where? Where is this happening? Where is this happening, Jessica Rothschild? Please let me know, and I'll help you do something about it. Einstein was never ignorant, Jessica Rothschild. And to put yourself in his category when you have zero intelligence, in fact, you have negative intelligence because you don't pay attention to anything to do with fact, truth, and reality. My God, quoting Einstein. The height of narcissism, the height of hubris, and the height of ignorance. This is who these people are. Remember what I just read to you. We live in a time where intelligent people are being silenced so that stupid people won't be offended. And they just make it up. Who? I want to know. I want to know. We'll name names. Who is discriminating against transgender people? I want to know because I'll call them out. I'll be the first one to do it. Please let me know. And we will go after them. Who is scaring people? Who is taking American citizens and deporting them? Please let me know. And we will publicize it. If ICE makes a mistake, we will publicize it without fear, without favor. Believe me, somebody texted in, believe me, if a criminal illegal alien ripped down the disgraceful Joe Biden banner in Greenridge, Billy Gahn, Mayor Many Names, and the Greenridge Neighborhood Association would all be bitching that the federal government is not doing its job. Another, good morning. Just wanted to mention that small minds and big mouths have a way of hooking up. Bob, and every couple of years they get elected to office. Have a blessed Easter. Thank you, LTS. Back at you. It's unbelievable. This is who these people are. Willfully ignorant. It's a disgrace. They make it up and they repeat it so often that they internalize it as though it's true. And they expect everybody else to be stupid enough to internalize it and believe it to be true as well. My word. We'll take a break. We'll be back. It's the Bob Cordaro Show. Bob Seger. Murph says this date, 1979, he released his hit Old Time Rock and Roll. Bob Cordaro back with you on this Holy Thursday. And he's been very patient with us today. Jim from Hazleton, how are you, brother?
Good. What's going on, my man?
Everything's good.
Yeah. Life is good.
Despite the insanity in the world, it's going well.
Well, the Kool-Aid is strong with these ones. The Kool-Aid is strong.
Yes. Yes, it is.
Oh. Anyway, if there is no reason other than all the reasons for them to blow up the filibuster, I don't know what is.
I don't understand. I'm at the point where, look at, you have a job to do. That's to pass legislation, not to respect and honor Senate rules. You also know the Democrats are going to blow that up just by counting heads. You know every single Democrat will vote to get rid of the filibuster, and then they will walk all over this country with it. Unbelievable.
Right. The Republicans need to blow the filibuster up, and they need to shove everything down the president's desk that they could get across and get done.
Yep.
Back to my point for calling was about that birthright citizenship. How come they could throw a fit about Donald Trump's $1 million visas, but you got people paying $80,000 in China that their Chinese people are making money off of U.S. visas that they're giving them? How come they're giving them tourist visas to come here and give birth and then go back to China and have little Chinese spy babies?
Yep.
And nobody's bitching about that. It's okay. Trump puts $1 million visas to go against the national debt, and he's the devil. And they're letting Chinese people buy U.S. citizens, literally buy them, because then, like they said, you could vote. They go back to China 18 years from now. They come in the country. They're a U.S. citizen. They can vote, go to college,
Yep.
be spies, do whatever they want to do. They're not vetting. They need to vet the parents.
Yes.
There has to be a better
And
system.
Jim, remember this too. There are about, because remember, Biden let in between 15 and 20 million, okay? Before that, the estimates were 30 million illegal aliens. So we've got somewhere between 40 and 50 million illegal aliens. Every one of their children who have never been given education in what this country's about, what our culture is all about, every one of them will be citizens the moment they are born. I think that's insane.
But the problem with that is they're not even teaching our own kids the history of the country.
Nothing.
And the other thing I was going to say is the Supreme Court needs to do something, because they can say, oh, let Congress got to do it. Well, if they pass a law, if the Republicans pass a law the Democrats don't like, they're going to file. On it. It's going to end up in the Supreme Court anyway. So the Supreme Court needs to do something, whether it's an injunction with Congress or something. But they can't just keep these problems and keep kicking the can. They got to do something with it. Something's got to be done with it legally. Whether there's a way for them to get citizenship or not, or something. The way that it's written now, the laws are now, it's a broken system. They need to come up with something. Whatever it is, they need to fix it.
Trump was 100% correct about this. The birthright citizenship was intended to protect the children of slaves and former slaves so that they could be American citizens. And, it's gone so far beyond the point and in such dangerous direction, it doesn't make sense anymore. I don't think the Supreme Court is going to uphold the executive order. I just don't, because they're conservative and in the truest sense of the word. And the left-wing women on the panel are voting against Donald Trump no matter what the issue is. Jim, we got to go, man. Happy Easter, my brother. My Picardo Jewelers watch tells me it's the bottom of the hour on this Holy Thursday. Couple of quick texts. Somebody says Biden banner. Well, no, it's a troll, but that's okay. Biden banner should come down and Trump's name off Kennedy Center. There is no equivalent there. Please do not equate stolen valor with out of control ego. Out of control ego in this case means nothing. It doesn't bother anybody unless you got Trump derangement syndrome. The banner debases everybody who served this country. Somebody texts in, Bob, sometimes I fear that we are never going to get anywhere with the liberal leftist fools. I fear it too. It's as if they are blind to what is destroying the world. And they gave, here's the amazing thing. We tried appeasement of Iran. They got worse and used the money that Obama and Biden gave them and let them earn to wreak more havoc. It's insane. Trump's doing the right thing that other people backed down from, that did the exact opposite of the right thing. And they're criticizing. Finishing the moment on this, I hope this being Holy Week, the Lord will descend on us and make us see we need some powerful help. Happy Easter and peaceful Passover to our Jewish listeners. LTS, back at you. We'll take a break and be back. Our Veterans Tribute this hour, brought to you by our man John Basiliga, featuring today his great Basiliga Hospitality Group. Growing, expanding, more to come. But right now, this weekend, you could go to the Old Brook Inn in Springbrook Township, Route 307. Far Street Tavern on Far Street in the great Trips Park section of West Scranton. The Queen City Tavern in downtown Oliphant, right on the main drag. And enjoy the best that bar restaurants have to offer anywhere. Fine dining, yep. The Stegmaier Mansion, downtown Wilkes-Barre. the Mary Stegmeyer Mansion, the best of event space and the best of fine dining. A Terra 519, a modern take on the same thing. An amazing bar restaurant, an amazing high-end restaurant. A Terra 519. Night life, yeah. Sergey's live right underneath the Terra on Linden Street in Scranton. You will love it. Anthony Blasio. We lost him at age 103 on March 14th. He was surrounded by his loving family. Born in Wilkes-Barre, he enlisted in the United States Marine Corps, where he proudly served as a decorated sergeant. He flew with the VMB 613 bombing squadron aboard the Billy Mitchell B-25 North American bomber. During World War II, he completed 37 missions as a top turret gunner stationed in the Marshall Islands. He was awarded the American Campaign Medal, Asiatic Pacific Campaign Medal with Bronze Star, World War II Victory Medal, Combat Air Crew insignia with 2 Bronze Stars. And those Bronze Stars mean you were in it. Rifle Marksman's Badge, Marine Corps Good Conduct Medal. He was immensely proud of his service as a United States Marine. He married the love of his life, Irene Poplawski Blasio, and together they made their home in Kingston, where they raised their children. Anthony cherished his 67 years with Irene, enjoying traveling and dancing the polka. He was a devoted member of St. Hedwig's Parish and later St. Ignatius Church, active in the Holy Name Society, member of the Knights of Columbus, Assumpta Council, serving as past Grand Knight and faithful navigator. He attained both 3rd and 4th degrees and worked for over 30 years as one of the organization's top fundraisers. Anthony was the owner of Anthony Blasio Trucking and Hauling, which he operated from the time he left military service until well into his 90s. Anthony Blasio lived by the philosophy, you've got to keep moving to live a long and happy life, and he truly embodied those words. Family was everything to Anthony. Preceded in death by his parents, of course. Sadly, his beloved wife, Irene. Tragically, his son, Anthony Jr., and his grandson, Scott Chopik. He's lovingly remembered, however, by his daughters. He's also survived by his cherished grandchildren, 7 of them, and his 7 beloved great-grandchildren. 103-year-old Anthony Blasio. We shall never see their likes again. Our great veterans brought to you by John Basiliga and Basiliga Hospitality Group. AccuWeather forecast. Today, considerable cloudiness and cooler with areas of drizzle. Damp and dreary compared to recent days. It'll only get to about 52. 47 at Montage Mountain right now. Tonight, low clouds and misty, 44. Tomorrow, low clouds, then perhaps some sun and warmer. It's going to spike up to high of 75. Saturday, times of clouds and sun with a couple of showers. A warm day for the trout opener and break the fast. High of 76, low of 56. Sunday, breezy in the morning with occasional rain. Cloudy and cooler. There can be ponding on the roadways. High 60. Low 35 on Easter Sunday. Easter Monday, breezy in the morning, otherwise cloudy, high of 52. 47 degrees at Montage Mountain right now, where they are swinging into spring. There's more fun to come. April 2nd, 1983. Murph says U2 debuted on the charts and the radio with their first hit single, New Year's Day. Bob Cordaro back with you on the program. Let's go right to the blower. We got Donald from Pittston. How are you, Donald?
Oh, great. Thanks for taking my call. Listen, Stephen A. Smith was on Bill Maher. This is the problem. This Omar was there can you hear me, Bob?
Yes. I'm
Okay.
always
Omar
silent
was
when
there.
I listen.
Omar was there 6 years, right? She got $30 million. Now this Margie Taylor Greene, he said, where did this money come from? She's worth a couple $100,000. She's bad-mouthing Trump. She's out of Congress now with 5 years, $25 million, right? Your friend Gabilio, right? What I tell you, ever since Obamacare, the Democratic Party married the insurance industry with these subsidies. Now he's the insurance industry. Now he's a big Democrat. He never talked like this, Gary. You know that.
Yep.
He was common sense like you.
Yep.
So you can see what's happening here. These people are just what happens with the government when you get in there and you just go for the money and you have all this gridlock now because of this nonsense. Some kind of reform has to happen.
Amen.
We have to find out where this money's coming from because we have constant gridlock, and it just seems they're just following the money for they're not really doing their job. They're just
Well, Rob Bresnahan has sponsored legislation that they cannot trade stocks, period. And let's hope that goes somewhere. I doubt it, but who knows, right? Thank you, my man. Let's go to Luciano in Luzerne County. Hi, Luciano.
Thank you. I normally don't call you twice a week, but let me say this. I've been reading the Bible. I often read it, and prayer is very important. Pray on your knees because in June, mid-June, Supreme Court will make the decision on birthright citizen. Pray on your knees. Pray standing. Pray while you're driving. Not pray when you're stopping, but pray, brother, because China already owns land in the United States. These dumbass Democrats have allowed China to own property, land in our agricultural farm areas throughout this country, and pray that the birthright citizen get overturned because it was only meant for African Americans who came to this country, that were forced to come to this country. Thank you, Bob, brother.
Thank you, man. My pleasure. And with that, we'll take a break. Bob Cordaro, WILK. We'll return. It's one of those songs I liked. I never knew the words. Oh, Sherry. And that's Steve Perry. Murph says he released his first solo hit this date, 1984. Well, we're starting to love this Terry McNulty thing. The big fella from Warm 590. And you know what it means now. It means the horseradish. How do you make horseradish? Well, we peel 1 root of horseradish, 1 pound of root or greater. Now, very important, you grate this horseradish into a large bowl. It's got to be outside. It'll blow your nostrils out. Okay? So grate the root of the horseradish, pound or greater, outside into a large bowl. Then you grate 2 to 4 cans, not the cans, but the whole red beets. 2 to 4 cans of whole red beets, not the cans, the beets. You grate them. Empty the liquid from 1 can of the red beets into the bowl. And that's the bowl with that grated horseradish root. Note, you use less beets for stronger, which I don't like, more for milder, which I love. Then you add 3 tablespoons of sugar, 1 teaspoon of salt, ½ cup of vinegar, mix and enjoy. That's our horseradish, homemade horseradish recipe with an homage to the big fella, Terry McNulty. Good stuff. All right, let's go right to the phone. We got time for one more call. We got about a minute. Fire away.
Bob, Mark Gabbage here. My grandfather was in the horseradish business for years. It was called Hankey's Horseradish in Edwardsville.
How about that? That's hilarious.
And I have the recipe, but just to give you an idea, you know, the cocktail sauce was real popular. It used to sell the Hoddles and some of the other establishments around.
Oh, Hoddles
but
was
how
the
that
best.
is made, a lot of people think you mix the white horseradish with ketchup. No, that's not the way you do it. He would take the pure ground white horseradish, and he would mix it. It was a mix of tomato puree, Worcester sauce, cayenne pepper, cayenne pepper, and pretty much and lemon juice. And that was about it.
Okay.
But it's the tomato puree was the part, you know.
Well, the most recipes that are great because they're simple.
Yeah.
Yeah. How about that? What was this company called again?
Hankey's Horseradish.
Hankey's
No,
I love that.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
man.
Dan Hankey's original horseradish.
Now, somebody texts in, they said, I grow my own horseradish. I make it almost the same, except half the sugar and only a little bit of red beet juice and vinegar. I like it strong, and I grind it well. Well,
He did so much of it. He had to go halves with Balliets for the half of railroad car.
Neat. Thank you, my man. 11:50 says my Bacardo's watch. Murph says this day, 2006, the Black Crowes were in concert in Knoxville, Tennessee. He picked Jealous again for that great band. Bob Cordaro back with you. So the Democrat Party will be promoting Pride Day over Easter Sunday. What a disgrace this Democrat Party has become more than ever since Joe Biden. I agree. I didn't think it could get worse. You would think they would wake up after Kamala got spanked with her idiocy. They're worse. And remember this, back to Jessica Rothschild with visibility, Trans Visibility Day. Well, a majority of them do everything they can so you can't avoid them. Never mind visibility. But the point is, love everybody. But that doesn't mean you can't give them hell when they're idiots. No, it is Easter. I won't get to be with you guys tomorrow, but I wish you a blessed Passover, a happy Easter. It's a beautiful time of year. It's important to remember what we are celebrating, which is our ability to go to heaven after this very brief life. And Christ gave that to us. Hey, thanks to Roach Supply for sponsoring our live stream. They're the premier bath and kitchen supplier in Northeast PA and celebrating 75 years in business. Veteran Ron Roach at the helm. 90-some-odd years old. Amazing. That's why they're 75 years old. And thanks to Tina Morocco, Global Sales Advisor at Sotheby's International, Naples, Florida. You could reach her through Sotheby's in Naples or at Tina Morocco, MURACCO.com. She's your trusted guide to Florida real estate. We're going to finish with this Good Friday version of Alleluia, which is playing in the background, but we'll move it to the foreground, won't we, for these last couple of minutes. Guys, have a great, great Easter. I'll miss you. God willing, I'll be with you Easter Monday. We'll start this fight all over again. Have a great one. But for now, we gavel to a close this meeting of the Club for Common Sense.